Well, it didn't set any transcontinental speed records, but the Solar Impulse did manage to fly across America, powered only by the sun. It recently flew from Cincinnati to Washington, D.C., and is preparing for its final leg from D.C. to New York next month. The plane was created by two Swiss pilots, but there's actually a connection to our region through Bayer Material Science, which calls Pittsburgh the home of its North American headquarters. Ian Nash is a member of the Solar Impulse team. He's polyurethane advocacy representative with Bayer, and welcome home.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So how does a Pittsburgh kid wind up getting connected to this Swiss-produced airplane flying on sun power across America?
Yeah, it's a good question. Bayer Material Science, who I work for, is actually a sponsor of the Solar Impulse project because our missions are so intricately aligned. We support the sustainability message of Solar Impulse and the message they're sending there. And so as part of that, we wanted to kind of get the inside, behind-the-scenes look on what's going on. So they identified a spot for someone to join the ground crew, which I had the fortunate opportunity to take that chance to join the ground crew. And I work alongside the Solar Impulse team, assembled from a group across Europe. And what we do is we help the plane take off and land and do routine maintenance on the plane as we're going along. And one of the great opportunities is we get to go speak publicly about the plane when we have events and people come see the plane. So it's really exciting to be a part of that and to share the innovative materials being used in the plane.
Well, really cool, and I know we got some video of the plane. What's the wingspan?
It's about 208 feet tip to tip, which is larger than most passenger jets.
Okay, and I would assume there's a lot of polyurethane as part of this. It's got to stay lightweight, right?
Right, exactly right. We have polyurethane foams that are used as insulation for the cockpit, and we also have some polycarbonate materials that are used to have a lightweight canopy, and these help the plane achieve its very low weight of 3,600 pounds total for the plane.
And what, solar cells on the wings, that's how it captures the sunlight?
Yes, the entire top of the wing is covered with solar cells, about 12,000 of them.
Are there batteries involved in this at all, or does it just fly when the sun shines?
No, there are batteries. There are 4 batteries, and each stores some charge from the solar cells, and actually they store enough charge that can fly through the night continuously without having the sun around. So it's actually flown in Europe for about 26 hours straight. In the United States, most flights have been around 17 to 20 hours per leg.
Now, I said at the beginning, it's not the speediest aircraft ever. How fast does it fly?
Cruising speed is about 43 miles an hour, so it's definitely a deliberate course.
So how long has it taken the team to make it across America?
We started in late March, early April, and usually between each leg we'll spend about a week or 10 days in each city so we can have some events to talk about the plane and conduct our post and pre-flight checks and do everything like that. But each flight leg, as I mentioned, is about 20 hours. Any
issues coming across America, or has it all worked according to plan?
It's gone very well. Certainly there are challenges about weather and wind speeds and things like that, which we're very aware of, and sometimes we have to change our flight plans slightly. But really, it's been gone according to plan. It's been a great mission so far.
You mentioned a little bit what you get to do as a ground crew. I think we have a little bit of video that sort of shows that activity happening on a landing. So, what role do you play when the plane touches down?
It's very exciting. We actually help the pilot keep the wings level when he lands. So when the pilot lands, he'll touch down in the main landing gear, and the ground crew will be assembled along the runway, and we will run out and help the pilot hold on to the wings to keep it level, which sounds a bit crazy, but it's actually very organized and effective.
I guess you got to be, you don't want it to tip over, blow off the runway or whatever else. I mean, did you ever think when you went to work for Bayer, 4 years ago, you'd wind up being the ground crew for something like this?
It is a big jump, but I've found that at Bayer I've had a lot of unique experiences like this, and this is definitely a memorable one and one I won't forget, and it certainly has a large connection to my role in Pittsburgh before I left to join Solar Impulse in sustainability and energy efficiency and lightweighting. So it's great to be a part of kind of sustainability come to life.
Well, and this really does. I mean, obviously they don't expect to be carrying 400 passengers on solar-powered airplanes anytime soon. But this really, demonstrates the concept or the potential of this type of technology?
Exactly. It shows that what we can do with current technology now. And the great interesting thing to me is that a lot of these materials, like the polyurethane foams you mentioned, are available now in terms of home insulation. So they can be purchased now, the commercially available materials, but yet they're being involved in this project to set records and push the envelope of what can be accomplished in the transportation industry. So it'll be great in 10, 20 years to see how this technology advances and gets better and better and more efficient.
And there's talk of doing an around-the-world flight now?
Yes, they're building a second plane right now in Europe, and Bayer is actually helping out with materials knowledge over there. And this plane will be a bit larger than the current plane, and it'll be capable of crossing the oceans and going around the world. And that's scheduled to start in 2015.
Crossing the oceans.
Yes.
So they got to cover. What's the longest leg this one's flown?
About 800 miles.
Okay, so I don't know what leg you have to fly to cross an ocean, but it's got to be substantial. That's an enormous undertaking.
Definitely, it'll be a very challenging undertaking, but I think the team's up for it.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. You know, congratulations. It's fun to see. It's fun to see somebody from Pittsburgh who gets to participate in something like this. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ian Nash, the polyurethane advocacy representative with Bayer. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Good to see you. And when we return, open innovation and how it's changing the R&D game for a number of our region's biggest companies. Stay with us.